here we are in Whitby, and we've got our van all set up, as you can see, on this rather nice campsite. And yes, we're really looking forward to going down into Whitby tomorrow. We've got fish and chips planned. I mean, you're by the seaside, it's got to be fish and chips. And I'm sure there'll be ice creams involved as well. So looking forward to a glorious Saturday in the sunshine in April, walking around Whitby. We stayed on the Broadings farm caravan site in the North Yorkshire moors. It's actually a working farm, and it's very conveniently located for Whitby town centre and the Abbey and all of the sites that you would want to see. It's a beautiful campsite set in the East Yorkshire countryside with views over rolling landscapes, and you're minutes away from the sea. So a good choice. I'll leave a link in the description below. So what about Whitby itself? Well, William Scoresby, the inventor of the crow's nest lookout tower on ships, lived in Whitby. And of course, you've got your choice of seafood shops and lovely little streets to wander around. It's a very pretty town, actually, and well worth a visit if you're around that area. It's got a gorgeous marina with plenty of boats to look at if you're into that kind of thing. And the bridge that you just saw basically takes you from the town centre across the river, and that's whereabouts you start to scale the many steps up to the church and the abbey. So many steps. And they're not over yet. This is going to do my knees no good. Well, my knees made it, and at the top of that climb you were greeted with some spectacular views looking back over the town of Whitby and of course the seaside. And at the top of the hill basically there is St Mary's Church and there's Whitby Abbey. So St Mary's Church is quite interesting. It was founded around 1110 AD. But its current interior dates chiefly from the late 18th century. So let's have a little bit of a look round.
Oh, dogs welcome. Perfect.
Who wouldn't welcome Prinny into the Church of God?
17. 17 next month.
Because Di just asked me to do a long weekend for a winter's birthday. Because I gave her my date. So she just asked me to do the. But you know what?
These pews are really high, aren't they?
Right, let's have the Smith family over here, and we'll have the Brams over there. Gate them in.
Gate them in. It's really unusual. Well, they wouldn't be able to see, but it would keep them penned in so that they weren't disturbing the service. I feel like they might have had trouble here. Behind me is the Dracula Castle. Let's go and see what's going on. It's a very windy day up by Whitby Cathedral, which it turns out might not have anything at all to do with Count Dracula, but we'll find out. It's an abbey, not a cathedral. So here we are by Whitby Abbey, which may or may not have anything to do with Count Dracula. My wife has form in this area. Sometimes she says stuff that turns out not to be exact, and at the moment she's giving me the finger. So, rude. Being the expert vlogger that I am and travel correspondent, I hadn't done any homework at all before I got to Whitby, and had no idea that this abbey, not a cathedral, is actually featured in Bram Stoker's Dracula. And indeed, he got the idea for the vampire story and the name of it whilst he was in Whitby. So you'll see as we go on through this that it's a voyage of discovery for me. Well, turns out it wasn't actually Dracula's castle, but was used in the film by Bram Stoker. And that's not surprising when you see it. the true legend of the community is here, and it seems like it was eventually King Henry VIII who suppressed the Abbey in 1539, and that's why we have the ruins that we have today. There might be a vampire theme going on here. I might have to stand corrected. Yep, no sign of anything to do with Dracula anywhere. So after all of those horror stories, it was time for a late lunch. So this is lunch from the world famous Magpie Cafe, as promoted by James Martin, and Prinny is looking very interested, and no doubt we'll get a bit of fish if she behaves herself and stops attacking all of the other dogs. As you can imagine, there's a lot of maritime history in Whitby, and actually this is a memorial to Captain Cook, of course a very well-known explorer who began his sailing career in Whitby. And I would say that we had a lovely day out in Whitby, definitely recommended, if only for the views alone, but the history is fascinating, the Abbey is beautiful, and the church is a little bit odd. Following morning, we took the short 15-minute drive down the coast to Robin Hood's Bay, which apparently has nothing to do with Robin Hood. There was an old folklore that he defeated French pirates years and years ago on a visit to the Scarborough coast, but it turns out that that's just not true. I don't know, should we go up the top first and then we can walk down? Or sure. What do you think? You're not bothered, are you, Prinny? Wendy's got her feet out. Robin Hood Bay. Apparently Dracula used to smuggle in stolen items from pirates off the high seas. That's right, isn't it, Wendy? She might have just sworn at me. Okay, so that last bit about Dracula's not true either. Anyway, we headed down the coast again for our final destination, down to Scarborough Castle, which is just a half-hour drive from Robin Hood's Bay, about 15 or 16 miles. There's some spectacular scenery in northeast Yorkshire, actually, isn't there? It's really lovely.
Yeah. That must be North Bay.
North Bay?
This bit.
And behind us we've got Scarborough Castle. And then the bit that Wendy's just been talking about, North Bay of Scarborough. Yeah, so that's where all the attractions are. Although I would argue whether they're attractions or not. Maybe if you're a family with young kids, but probably not for us. But on the other hand, the castle, we're going to go and have a look round. Well, it's a very windy day in Scarborough, and unfortunately the sound's not great, so I'll let you have a look through some of the images, but just to give you a brief history about the castle. It stands on a rock that rises above the North Sea. Its 12th century great tower is the centrepiece of a royal castle that was begun by Henry II, and it became one of the greatest royal fortresses in England and figured prominently in national events during the Middle Ages. Its buildings are mostly relatively recent additions to a site which, as a natural fortress, has been intermittently inhabited and fortified for nearly 3,000 years. Both the Abbey in Whitby and the castle in Scarborough that we visited are owned and maintained by English Heritage. In the UK, there's two major organisations, both charities, that essentially look after all of our historic monuments, or a large amount of them, and that's the National Trust and English Heritage. Wendy and I are members of English Heritage, and we're getting some value for money out of our membership by visiting these beautiful places as we will travel around the countryside. In a few months' time, we'll be heading down to Cornwall, and again, I'm expecting that we'll get some great use out of our English Heritage membership and be able to see some of their gorgeous sites down on the south coast. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. There will be more coming your way, and we will do our best to make sure that the sound is better on the next one, and I don't know though that we'll get many better views than what you're looking at right at this moment. Thanks very much for watching. Here's some music just to take you through the last couple of minutes. Bye now.